Welcome to Valhalla Kustom and our brand new trailer. Come see what it looks like before we start tearing into it and making it a full-on custom. Here's our starting point. It's a Hallmark 6x10 foot trailer, V-nose, steel frame. It's always important to do a walk-around inspection before you buy a trailer, new or used. We're going to take a little walk around this trailer and see what we can find on this one. So what you see here is stainless steel fenders. It's aluminum skin over a steel frame, 14-inch wheels, all pretty basic. It's got a ramp door in the back, and if we come up front here, we can see it's got an A-frame style tongue. Now the owner said no problems, none at all, nothing to worry about, everything is perfect on it. But no matter how respectable the person is, how much you like them, whether they're friend or family, always double check. Always look, because they may be dishonest or they may just not know what's going on. Here at the tongue you can see a little sloppy fix-up work. Get a little closer, you can see where they sprayed right over the top of the hitch lock. Well, that tells me that was just a quick job to get things done, so it makes me want to look further. You want to look underneath and make sure that they're not covering up rust. In this case I did check, and all it is just chipping and checking from its past travels. So it's just a cleanup. It wasn't a great job. But the tongue jack works fine. The hitch lock works fine. We go over here. You'll see that there's a little fading on the fenders. That's not a big deal. This trailer was built in New York and spent a lot of time in Texas and has been here for a few years. What happened in Texas is it turned all the red lights pink. Now, I've checked them all. All the lights work, everything's fine, except for these lights, which are safety lights or backup lights. I'll have to do some more testing to find out if we can get those to work. But the pink lights are still red enough to be legal, and the orange lights that have sort of faded as well, those are still legal. So they may get an upgrade in the future, but as now they're still fine and they're still During your initial check, you're going to look at the screw heads. You're going to look for warping. There'll be some factory warping. That just happens with the quality of how these trailers are put together. Usually not a big problem. Look for rusted screws or bolts or anything like that to determine if they're going to be a big issue. In this case, not a lot. I have found some screws on the body, like here, that are rusty, that'll need to be replaced, but a whole line of them will indicate that there's a big leak. If you have just one or two, it could be just zinc failing on the face of the screw itself. Not a big deal. If you catch it in time, go ahead and just replace it and you're good to go. This is the most important part of the trailer, the roof. You want to get up here, bring a ladder with you. If they don't have one, just be prepared. Take a look at everything and see how this is the most important part of an enclosed trailer. You're going to get roof failures up here. That's going to cause leaks inside and cause damage overall. And it could rot out everything, including the floor of the trailer, which makes the whole thing worthless. Now, what we see on here is it's pretty dirty. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. And there is some mold happening on the caulk on the edges. And mold itself is not a big issue. That happens especially up in the Northwest here. But what you want to look is for failing caulk or holes in caulk. You can see there's a hole missing right there, and you can see the seams are starting to open up here as the caulk dries and shrinks. And here, you can even lift it up. It's no longer attached. Those are going to be leak areas. You're going to have to go clean this up and re-caulk this area. It doesn't mean that the trailer's bad. It just means that it's something you got to plan on doing or having done for you. And the first issue here would be to wash this off, see what you have, and then remove any of the areas of bad caulk. All right, let's take a look inside. Here we go. First off, there's an oil stain on the floor here of the ramp, but what you're looking for here is any warping, cracking, splitting, any rot, anything like that, and there's really none of that here. It's all good and sturdy. Inside, he's done sort of a strange thing here, is put these extra supports on the floor to put eye hooks in, and then use some outdoor carpet underneath that. I always ask about mold on the inside of these trailers. It's a sign of not only moisture infiltration, but how the item has been stored over the years. You can see a little bit of water damage here. And the white stuff, yep, that's mold. But there's not a whole bunch of it, and that can be taken care of. but you can see the stains from water damage from that caulk that we looked at on the roof that's been damaged. I've already removed a little piece here to get a little better access and see what's going on. At this frame rail, you can see evidence of water leakage right on the inside here. Now the rest of this little bit of mold here, this can be treated and coated. It's not a big issue at this point, as long as you catch it early enough. You'll see on the roof panel a little bit of mold there as well. We'll wipe these areas down, clean them up real good, and we're going to treat some of this surface rust before it gets any worse, before we go on any further with the project. The area that's hardest hit in the trailer is the door. You can see pretty heavy right there. But if you change the angle, you can kind of take a look and see the paneling's actually not raised up. It's not delaminating at all. It's stained. It's pretty heavy stain, but it's stained. We're going to clean this up. We're going to treat it. And this door is a sandwich construction, so it's a little different than the rest of the trailer. So you want to try to salvage the door if you can. Otherwise, you may have to go all the way to replacement. These are not easy to build. On the floor, we've got one D-ring, a plate for a motorcycle, so a little bit of staining on the carpet, and then you've got these eye-rings, which are nice to have, but this is another thing that you should look at while you're inspecting, is they are not welded. They are open-ended, which limits their load capacity. Now, this is a 3,500 pound trailer, so of course you're not going to be towing 5,000 pounds in here or a monster truck or anything like that, but if you start strapping on that load, what's going to happen is those eye hooks are going to open up, and that could be an issue. So consider what you're carrying and think about what the load is. That's very low weight capacity on those hooks right now. We've got 2 lights in the ceiling and a manual crank vent. Check the vent. Vent doesn't leak. Opens and closes nice. It does let air to breathe. When it was sitting at the lot, all the doors were closed and the vent was closed as well, which helps build up moisture inside. It's not a good thing. You should be able to let that vent open a little bit so you get a little air through here. There is no other vent. There's no windows. There's no side vents in here. So letting air to move through here, just like in a home, is going to keep some of the moisture down from on the inside. These are stabilizer jacks. They're meant when the cargo door is down and you're not hooked up, so that the whole trailer doesn't tilt backwards as you load. They're for safety, but they're also if you want to hang out inside or do anything or do any work inside, the trailer's not shifting and moving on you. If you don't know how these work, feel free to ask the people that you're buying the trailer from to show you how they work and make sure that they do operate correctly. There's about a half a dozen designs or more of these, so if you don't know how to operate these, don't feel bad. These pull and flip down. There is a lever here that drops the foot down to whatever level the ground is at. And they flip up and lock. There's a little latch in there. These, on this particular trailer, are kind of bashed to hell, but they're steel. They can be bashed back a couple of times. In this case, they work fine. I'll do a little beating and moving around a metal and get it to work just perfect. That's a tour and the inspection of the trailer. Follow along and see what we're going to do.